Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Plasma here, and this is the Tacview review of a 60 nautical mile plus shot from a Tomcat. So I've got Tacview up on the screen. You can get Tacview for free, tacview.net, and if you fly in DCS or in other video games, because Tacview supports many other video games, you can get it for free. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the left-hand side here and find my Red Force F14. In the future versions, this will be searchable. But we're going to find Plasma here, and our timeline of events appears on the bottom. So I'm going to grab the slider here and drag it forwards until we got a little blue block here. And as you can see, here is yours truly, Plasma, and there's a line between me and an airplane. If you hold down the control button and click on your plane with the left mouse button, and then with the right mouse button, that line will disappear. What is that line? Well, it allows you to put a measurement and almost a tether between you and a contact. So I'm going to hold control, left click on my plane, and then right click on Nick here. Now, Nick is going to be my target. So as I'm cruising in, you can see that my aircraft was at 28,000 feet, traveling at 0.5 Mach. And as I climb up, I've already got lock. I've come up to just around 31,000 feet, and at this point we have our missile launch at 62 nautical miles. And if we get out of freedom units, we can go up to the screwdriver and wrench. Took me a second there, and switch to metric, and that's 114 kilometers. Now realistically, you do want to be a little bit higher, but we're going to switch back to freedom units. And 62 nautical mile shot. And there go the Phoenixes. So if you hover your mouse over an object, it'll bring up more details. And as you can see, the Phoenixes cruise all the way up to the top of their arc at 78,000 feet at Mach 1.8. By this point, Nick has been flying towards me. There he is over there at 32,000. I'm still at 30,000, but regaining some of my speed back. And my Phoenixes are on their way. As you can see, there's two Phoenixes because I fired one on Nick and I fired another one on Frank in the back. Now, the reason that you're seeing that cool effect is I'm holding both Alt and Shift as I click on an object, and it does that cool effect. Now here, my Phoenix is heading down, and because I've double clicked on it, the tether has now switched from my airplane to the Phoenix, and it comes down towards Nick, and we can actually watch his reaction. So he's flying pretty straight level at about 600 knots true airspeed, and here the missile goes active at only 4 miles. Nick panics and freaks out. He defends, but not enough, and there's a splash. So that's at 60 miles or almost 115 kilometers. Now, let's take a look at Frank. So now we've scored a hit on Nick, turning back in. My radar is still tracking Frank over here, but this missile had a lot further to go. So it's coming out of the sky. It's at 20 kilometers, 60,000 feet. So we're going to hold control and left click on this Phoenix. Keep holding control and right click on Frank here. The only problem is the missiles have only a limited battery life during which they work. So here Frank is flying pretty straight and level. The Phoenix sees him, it turns in on him. And as you can see, we have our distance between both Mark and the missile as it comes down from the top, and it just loses track of him because its battery has run out. And Frank has survived and escaped that shot. Good bit of maneuvering. But let's finish this off with a really silly fight. So I'm going to select Plasma here, and let's compare it to see what's going to happen here. So Frank is still heading for me. I'm trying to lock him up. He fires an AiM-120, which goes nowhere. And as my airplane closes in on Frank, things are going to get spicy. So I fire a Phoenix and pull way too hard. And you can actually see here my airplane statistics. I put 7 Gs at Mach 1.4, and I damaged the wings of my aircraft. So you might be wondering, why did Plasma blow up? Well, that's what I did. My Phoenix is heading in for Frank, but he fired an AiM-120 at me. But because my plane has blown up, his AiM-120 goes after my Phoenix missile and protects him and saves him by taking out my Phoenix, and Frank survives. So there's a quick crash course on Tacview. Let me know if you guys have more questions about Tacview or about that fight. And of course there's a in-cockpit version, which you should see on top of the screen here. Alright, I'll catch you in the next video. Plasma 1945 is out of here.